Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to another segment um, with myself alongside Jan. Jan from New York City Saves Money. Today, or I should say this morning, we're going to talk about how dollar store prices are going to affect you. Even though it's not that drastic of a price increase, even though everything's going to go to about $1.50 rather than $1. Um, we wanted to discuss, you know, how we feel about it, and again, please feel free at some point, if you wish, down in the comments, let us know or me know how you feel about the Dollar Tree, upcharge and how it might affect you. So, Janet, glad you're here. I wanted to,
Thank you.
yeah, I wanted to go and put the spotlight on you. How do you feel about this
Oh,
situation?
thank you so much, Steve. Always fun to be here. Hi, everybody. How you doing today? Hope everybody's doing well as always, right? You know, there's been a lot of banter, a lot of talk all over this platform and other platforms as well about this increase in Dollar Tree, for example, and how it may or may not affect things in general. I have a rule of thumb, Steve, and this rule of thumb is a method that applies to all of us anytime, any place. And if you follow this thing, no matter what happens around us, you will still remain ahead of the game. Guess what it is, Steve? Always spend within your means and do not constantly give in to wants. The Dollar Tree and similar stores are very fun places to go, right? You feel like you have a control of things, but sometimes this may be a wake up call to many of us who spend too much money on things that really you don't need. It's more like a want. Like think of like, do you really need that extra trinket or that perhaps cheaply made thing that this is the rule of thumb. It may force this increase may force some folks to have to say no a little more often to things that are not absolutely needed. Steve, I just add another point to this that I understand some seniors, for example, rely on Dollar Tree for certain foods and everything. That I could see. I could totally see that. So for me personally, well, number one, I don't have a dollar store near me. So right off the bat, I'm eliminated from that dish. Okay. However, if I did and when I used to, I rarely went in there for stuff I didn't need. And I always, I mean, really, I just spent it. I mean, didn't want just wants. I didn't cave into my wants. I'm getting a little tongue tied here. I did not cave into wants. So this is going to be a wake up call for all of us to examine our spending habits in general. How about you, Steve? Does this affect you, or will it affect you directly in any way? Just curious.
Not really. I mean, still okay for a pack of cookies, and you and I did a screen share segment about dollar store items a little while back, and the video is in my lineup if any of you want to check it out if you haven't seen it. Um, for example, I don't mind certain dollar store cookies. Okay, so instead of me paying $1 for a pack of cookies now, $2 at the register or 2.14 or whatever it is, I'm going to be paying more or less $3.21 because it's 150 plus the sales tax, which is still better than what you would get, say, if you went to a regular grocery store like a Publix or a Winn-Dixie in my area, or even Walmart, Target. The only other place you might possibly somewhat make out is if you go to a store like a Save-A-Lot or an Aldi.
Right.
There you may get a step across from what you would get at the
Right.
Dollar Tree, but there's no guarantee. Again,
No.
you have to watch your prices. You do have to be in the know of what something costs in one store versus going to another store. You definitely have to do a little bit of homework there. You can't
I
just,
so agree with you, Steve, about being knowledgeable. You are so right about that.
yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, I don't look at it as being intelligent, but I do look at it as having a little common sense, which Not that I'm trying to imply anything bad here, but the word common sense doesn't really apply that much anymore.
There's nothing common about sense.
Not very many people have it. No,
Right,
no disrespect here, but a lot of you can probably identify from
right. Oh no, I can say this safely. Our viewers are very, very bright. Why are they at this type of a channel? Because they want to be in more control. They want to be saving money. They have goals.
Yeah.
My concern, Steve, and maybe you feel the same way too. Perhaps some people are being overreactionary about this increase. This is going to happen, but with it, we can take arm to this challenge. Okay, what could we do? You know what, Steve? I have a suggestion. What to? One, create more no spend days. Okay. If you only have 2 a month, consider making 4 a month, 1 day a week, no spend days. Keep what you have as much as possible. It's not about saving either, Steve. It's about keeping what you have. Because sometimes when we say save, 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 sometimes it just feels so pressure. Retain what you have. Always ask yourself, is this a want or is this a need? Big difference.
There is. Yeah.
Do you really need extra silk flowers when maybe you rather get some canned meat at a better price at one of those types of stores?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Because I have noticed a little bit, not just dollar store, but prices are elevating even in regular grocery stores. Like for example, I used to be able to get a pretty darn good deal on canned fruit at Walmart. That's no more because the price shot up about 25 cents a can. Now I'm able to go to a store like maybe Dollar Tree, which it's not that name anymore. I don't know what they're going to do about that. But Aldi, Save-A-Lot is now the alternative because there I can get a can for 109 rather than paying 119, 125 and above at say Walmart or even Target for that matter. Target is another.
That makes sense. That makes total sense.
But you do have to. You got to know. You got to be in the know of your shopping, or you're going to lose.
I just shop less often. Oh, gods, what am I going to do? I can't shop every 5 minutes. It's okay. Find another activity besides shopping. See, if you want to point something out, back in the 70s here in New York City, the very first dollar store was not $1. And I think the very first one was probably here in New York City. And it was called the 69-cent store. Here we are, fast forward. Now, that was in the mid-70s, about 1974, 75. I was a teenager, okay? Mm-hmm. Here we are, 2021, going into 2022. For it to have only graduated to $1.25, $1.50, think about that. That is really, relatively speaking, not that bad.
No, it's not.
Remember the 69-cent store out there? Let us know.
No, that's not bad. Well, when you go back to the 1970s again, and we did a segment about cost of living and all that a little while back as well. You're talking about a time when you really didn't even make $3 an hour in a job. I mean, I think minimum wage was like $2.20, $2.30 at that point, and you had less money to function on. It's not like it is today. But then again, remember too, the value of the dollar then was worth way more than what it is now. The last time I checked on the value of a dollar bill now, it's not even worth a dime now in value. It's
right.
Below a dime. Yeah.
And another thing before we get going, I have to say this. Think relatively speaking, even if it went up a quarter or even up to 50 cents, sometimes, relatively speaking, looking at other prices, you still may be getting a deal. So take a breath. Don't panic. It'll be okay. And just, reduce the wants, increase the need shopping for now until everything levels out. And it will level out at some point. Just don't panic.
Yeah, it will. It will. Just, we kind of have to go with it. And maybe at some point down the road, there's no telling, maybe, just maybe, there's a possibility that those prices could come back down.
That's right. You never know. Remain hopeful.
Yeah, because if prices go up, I mean, it's just as easily depending. Because recessions and inflations, they do come and go.
Yes, they do.
And usually when recessions and inflations go away or things start to level out, usually the costs come down. That's the way I've always known it. as far back as I can remember. So, but yeah, anything that can go up can come down. I look at it. You got your ups and downs. So
Very true.
yeah. So anyway, I thought we would come on here this morning and just have a little, a session about dollar store costs, not just Dollar Tree, any dollar store. Um, you do have your Dollar General, you do have your Family Dollar. It's another. I wouldn't exactly consider that a dollar store though, because every time I've gone in one of those, you're going to pay $3, $4, $5, $2. There may be some stuff in there for $1, but it's not $1 items. You not in those two stores. You're going to pay more. But in a Dollar Tree, it was. And again, I'm hoping to go to a Dollar Tree here in the next day or two so I can see what changes.
For me, I still don't have one by me. And you know what? As much as I miss certain things, thankfully I do have family members that are located near theirs. And every once in a while, they'll bless me with a thing or two from there. But for me, it's probably better that there isn't one close by.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. Well, I'm glad you were available this morning to discuss.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate the invite. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, no problem. And, definitely on my end, I have a segment every Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. I've got something called Recipe Tuesday, so be tuned in, for that. I put up a recipe that I've used, or not it's not necessarily always my recipe, something I created. It might be something that I have located and tried. And what I tend to do is when I get a recipe that I've never tried, I will follow it to direction. But if there's any modifications to that recipe the second or third time around, I will change it.
Absolutely.
And people can also come and check your channel out as well.
Come hang out with me 5 a.m. Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. Eastern. If you can't make the 5 a.m., you could catch me on replay.
That's right. Okay, everyone. We will see you in the near upcoming future, and definitely be on the lookout, for Recipe Tuesday. And again, you have your 5 a.m. upload.
Thanks again, Steve.
You're welcome. So be on the lookout for that. All right, everyone. Take care and have a wonderful day.